In this episode of IONN CEO Talks, I'm joined by Bernard Rowe of Ioneer, and we're talking about the company's Rhyolite Ridge Lithium-Boron project in Nevada. Bernard, welcome.
Thank you very much, Stu. Pleasure to be with you.
You know, let me start with congratulations on securing conditional approval of a $700 million loan commitment from the U.S. Department of Energy. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, sure, Stu, and very exciting news for us. I think the most significant announcement we've had in the history of the company. How that came to be, there's I can go into a whole heap of detail, of course, but the crux of it is that it was a 2-year due diligence process. We have been working on this Rhyolite Ridge project for now about 6 years, have spent about $120 million, and that allowed us to meet the requirements for the DOE's loan program, ATVM program as it's called, and we applied, we went through a due diligence process, and the recent announcement was really the culmination of that 2-year process.
So where do you go from here? What are next steps?
So next steps, the loan is a conditional amount and it's up to $700 million. So obviously addressing the conditions of that loan are going to be very much a focus for us, and they're all expected conditions and what anyone would expect of a loan like this. So for the project, some of those conditions are completion of the permitting process. We have 2 out of 3 of the key permits that we require to commence construction, and we're working on the 3rd one, the federal government's NEPA process, and so that's obviously a focus for us. There's some other things in there around completing some of the engineering work and the cost estimates, both operating and capital cost estimates. Now, we did all that in a feasibility study with Fluor Engineering 3 years ago, and that was part of our application. But given that 3 years has passed now and it'll be 4 years before we commence construction, we update our estimates around cost, capital and operating costs and our economic models. And that'll be the focus for the duration of 2023, the permitting and updating all of those cost estimates, finishing off the detailed engineering design work, which is close to being complete, so that we could be shovel ready, commence construction.
You have already started to sign deals with Ford, Toyota, Panasonic, and others. What are the conditions around that, and what does their commitment to these deals say about the project?
Yes, that's right. So we have signed agreements with the Ford, Toyota, Panasonic joint venture, and EcoPro, Korean cathode maker, large cathode maker. Just as a sort of a background, the reason why we did those offtake agreements was not just to secure a partnership with those fantastic firms, but we needed the bankable offtake agreements in order to qualify for the terms and conditions of the loan process. So, ultimately that's why we did the offtake agreements. It was to have them in place, bankable binding offtakes that would then underpin the economics of the loan, the loan application. What does that say about the project and the company? I think what it really says is that Ioneer and Rhyolite Ridge is going to become a cornerstone supplier of lithium to the US domestic supply chain. And some of the conditions that we built into those agreements actually ensure that this lithium not only gets mined and refined in the United States, in Nevada, but it also then goes into cathodes and ultimately electric vehicles to be manufactured in the United States. And so that's an undertaking that we negotiated with both Ford and the Toyota Panasonic joint venture planet.
That you are committed that the product, lithium, will be staying in the United States and going into advanced technology motor vehicles.
Yes, absolutely. We are, and that's a contractual obligation. Now, not all of that supply chain, that full supply chain, is built out in the US now. It's rapidly changing because there are, there are cathode manufacturing facilities, there are battery cell manufacturing facilities, and battery pack manufacturing facilities. The three sort of key ingredients, I guess, that come together to form a battery for an electric vehicle. Not all of that supply chain existed in the United States, but it's being developed, and we're still several years away from production. So, by the time we get to production, there will be that full supply chain in place, and it will continue to grow, of course, and develop. But the intention is that this material goes from rock in the ground to an electric vehicle on the road in the United States, full supply chain.
Yeah, I like your expression, rock to road.
Yes.
To get there, do you have the team that you need now to be able to build out this mine site and then turn over to operations?
Yes, we do, and it is going to be a large project. There's no question. We're talking about 500 people working on the construction phase, around about 300 people during operational phase over a period of several decades. So it's a large project that's going to require a lot of people. But we've already been working on that strategy for several years. Fluor Engineering is an important partner for us in the project, so they are going to manage the construction. So they are what we call EPCM, Engineering Procurement Construction Manager. So we will be relying on their team to assist us. We will have our own what's called owners team working alongside Fluor. We also have SNC Lavalin helping out on the construction of the sulfuric acid plant. So we're relying on our partners to work with us so that Ioneer doesn't have to manage all aspects of this project, particularly in that construction phase. And importantly, we also have Sibanye-Stillwater as a partner in the project. They will become our joint venture partner 50-50 once we get to final investment decision stage. And Sibanye is, a large global mining company. They are the largest platinum producer in the world and one of the largest gold producers in the world. They have operations in the United States at Stillwater in Montana. So that they'll also be working with us. So Ioneer will manage and operate, but our partner in joint venture will be involved in and assisting us as we go through the construction commissioning phase.
So I was looking at your stock on Nasdaq today, and you've had stellar results, shall we say. So for investors who are looking at you right now going, I wanted to be a part of that, but I'm not. What's your message to them now about why is this the time that they should be looking at Ioneer?
I think, there's no question we've had a very positive reaction to the recent news, both the permitting news and also now the DOE loan news, but we're really just getting started on this. And so I think, people saw two large risks in this project as being financing of the project and the permitting risk. And, we've dealt very conclusively around the financing and we're close on the permitting. We've still got work to do, absolutely. But, really we're just getting started, and that's just, I think, being recognised in the market. We are going to be most likely the first new production of lithium in the United States since the 1960s. We're partnered with some of the big car makers in the United States. And so, I think we have a very positive outlook for 2023 and beyond as we go into construction in 2024. So I think we're really just getting started, and there's going to continue to be a lot of positive news coming out of this project as we advance towards construction, and it's an exciting time for the company.
So on that note, to investors and those who are watching, what's the next news cycle that we should be looking for, and what should we be paying attention to?
So I keep on mentioning permitting. So obviously it's going to be progress on the permitting front. there are a series of sort of gates that you go through as we do the permitting work alongside the BLM manage the process, the Bureau of Land Management, the federal government. But there'll be a series of milestones as we pass through, so there'll be important things to be on the lookout for. And then we've also got a strategy around, continuing to develop our partnership. We recently announced a partnership with Shell on sulfur, but we also flagged that we're going to be doing more of those sort of strategic partnerships that relate to various elements of this project. So you'll see more of that. We won't be doing any more offtakes on the lithium, simply because we have about 80% of our lithium under offtake, but other partnerships that make sense for the project. And then finally, I would also then mention that with the permitting and the funding, largely in place and with some conditions, and obviously that's our focus for our work, but we will also be starting to pay a little bit of attention to the growth opportunities for the project, because we have a very large resource. The feasibility study was based on the reserves of about 60 million tonnes, but we actually have 146 million tonne resource here of lithium and boron mineralisation, and it's open in multiple directions. We also have a second deposit further to the north. So we're going to be doing a bit of work that all of that exploration and growth opportunity we largely parked while we were focusing on the sort of base case, the stage one of the project. But you're going to see us devoting a bit of time and attention to those growth opportunities as we move forward through to 2023.
Congratulations on your success to this point, and I'm looking forward to having you back so that you can give us more exciting updates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stu. My pleasure. Thank you.